guys, thanks for stopping by. Today I wanted to go over two of my absolutely most favorite places that I've ever visited, and that is the Maldives and the Philippines. Both are just breathtaking. I had the best time in both of them, but a lot of time people ask me like, should I visit the Philippines? Should I visit the Maldives? So I'm just going to go through some of the similarities and some of the differences. So if you're trying to work out which of these tropical paradises you want to visit and which would be a budget versus a luxury option, then hopefully this video will help. So number one, beaches and ocean. Both the Philippines and the Maldives have insane beaches. Like, oh my god, like I've never seen anything like that, and I swear, it's ruined me for life because I can't go anywhere else now. I'm so picky. I'm a beach snob. Both of them have amazing ones. There are a few differences. So in the Philippines, obviously they have absolutely beautiful white sand beaches, and they also have the amazing mountains in the backdrop behind. The water is just crystal clear. It's the first place that I've been where the water was like, I felt like it was glowing. The color was just crazy. In terms of what's below the water, Philippines has some really famous dive sites as well. However, some of the places are prone to dynamite fishing. So if you do want to go diving, which I don't particularly like to go diving, I have like an irrational fear of deep water, which is stupid as a surfer and a lifeguard. Some of the places, if they are dynamite fishing there, the reef can be a little bit dead. Just be careful when you are picking where you're going in the Philippines if you want to go diving. The Maldives, obviously everybody knows the Maldives is just so famous for its beaches. However, the beaches in the Maldives don't obviously have the big mountains in the background. They're more like big long sand spits. Be careful though, some islands can have quite small beaches, especially the local islands. Like if you're gonna go and stay on one of those, they can have harbors and development, or they can just be quite rocky. Most of the islands with the beautiful beaches on have been developed into resorts. You're gonna go to one of those, they are beautiful, they are amazing. Sometimes the beach can be a little bit grainy because it's all the coral that ends up getting washed up. So I did see a complaint and a comment once on TripAdvisor. A person was complaining that the sand was too grainy and that they'd had a horrible holiday. So if sand is important to you, then make sure you go and check out, maybe ask in advance which island to go to. The water in the Maldives as well is just insane, it's phenomenal. I had that same kind of feeling. The color and the clarity was just ridiculous. It's quite seasonal dependent, so it can have really strong currents and it can get really cloudy. So check which time and where you're gonna go. In the Maldives, pretty much anywhere you jump in, you're gonna see something. Like, they really protect their coral. They put up loads and loads of coral restoration projects. They are very careful with the dynamite fishing. So unlike the Philippines where you've just gotta make sure you're going to the right places, the Maldives, pretty much wherever you jump in, there's gonna be a fish. I would just go snorkeling all the time in between surfing, and I'd just put my head under and I'd see like sharks and rays, and I'd have turtles like bumping into me because there's so many of them. Number two is really important. It's money and accommodation. Like, what's your budget? How much are you gonna spend? So the Philippines has both options. It's got some really nice, amazing, beautiful luxury options, but it has a lot of budget options as well. You can end up just like renting a hammock for like $1 a night. And also, while you're there, other than the accommodation, you can find some cheap options. Your food's gonna be super cheap, and the activities that you're gonna do are also gonna be pretty reasonable. Even in some of the more touristy areas, you can find like a really good rate on things to do. The Maldives though, I guess most people know it for its like amazing 5-star hotels, and when you look online, the prices are insane. You can pay up to, I think Gili Langkwang Phushi, which was the resort next to where we worked, has the largest overwater villa in the world, and I'll pop it in here how much it's going to set you back a night if you want to rent it. It's crazy. But what people don't know about the Maldives is that it also has some budget options now. The government has changed some policies, I think in the last like 10 years or so, where they can now have guest houses. So the locals are opening up guest houses on their own islands. So this is a really good thing if you want to get out to the Maldives, if you want to go surfing, if you want to go diving, you can stay on one of these local islands. However, they might not have good beaches on those islands, so check that. The other thing with the Maldives is once you're there, it can be crazy expensive. In the Philippines, you can obviously leave the resort and go out local style. On the Maldives, once you're on the resort, if you're not doing an all-inclusive holiday, you can end up paying insane amounts of money. Just going out for dinner, getting a cocktail, doing an activity, these are going to be upwards of hundreds of US dollars. Make sure you put that in your budget. Don't just pay your accommodation and go. Either go all inclusive or make sure you've got enough money to just be able to do whatever you want there. The Maldives also has an insane plus tax policy. Whatever you think the food's going to be, whatever you think your accommodation is going to be, add on 25% and then you'll get exactly how much it's going to cost. Number 3 is transport and getting around. Both of these countries are ridiculously long and they're made up of so many islands, it's crazy. So you're going to need to get like an internal flight or a boat once you arrive in the capital to get out to the place where you want to go for your vacation. And this can really affect your budget and the time that you want to spend in these places. First off, the Philippines has over 7,000 islands. That's just crazy. You definitely want to get some internal flights once you arrive in either Manila or Cebu. You can do that with Cebu Pacific. They're a pretty cheap airline. They have tons of flights going all the time and they are the funnest airline I have ever flown with. So the air hostesses will run like quizzes and games while you're traveling. It's so funny. They'll do like karaoke and then you've got to like guess the song, and the first passenger to guess the song will like get a Cebu Pacific gift. It can be a little bit disorganized. There is always complaints about delays and cancellations of flights. Just be aware when you are booking, if the flight gets cancelled, it can really impact how much time you're going to have when you finally do arrive. The Maldives doesn't have as many islands as the Philippines. It's only got just over 1,000, but that's still quite a lot of islands. So again, once you arrive in the capital, you're going to need to get a seaplane or a boat or even like an internal domestic flight to get to your resort island. This can add like a massive cost onto your budget if you're not prepared for it. Some resorts don't need you to get a seaplane, but they will need you to get a boat. The private boats that come with the resorts can add, again, a lot of money onto your budget. They can be upwards of 100 or 200 US dollars depending on how far you need to go on the boat. If you're staying in a guest house, you can arrange a local guy just to bring his own boat and pick you up. It's still not going to be that cheap, but it will be much cheaper than the boats on the resorts. Or you can try and find a local ferry. So every single island that's around the capital will have its own like local ferry service, like a bus, and it will just go back and forth at certain times during the day. They're super slow, but they are super cheap. Number 4 is climate. Both places obviously are really tropical and they can have amazing climate and weather if you're looking for that really lovely sunny vacation. However, in both places it can be unpredictable. So tropical places come with unpredictable weather. So if you are looking at going during the rainy season to save money, sometimes you can get lucky and have an amazing, beautiful sunny week. And on the other hand, if you're going to save up and go during the dry season, you can end up with rain the whole week. Take that into account when you're thinking about how much money you're going to spend. The Philippines has more of the erratic weather and they're prone to typhoons during the typhoon season, which is like June till like late October. That is something that can really impact your holiday. If a typhoon comes and it hits the place you're at, one, you actually want to be really careful because the Philippines infrastructure is not so good and it can mess up your flights. The Maldives weather is a lot more calm. They don't have like big tropical storms, which is amazing for such a tropical place, but they do have a very defined rainy season. Probably around like April, May, the rain starts to come down. However, the temperature in the Maldives is like best temperature I have ever come across. It's just so pleasant. It's really dry most of the year. Even in the more humid months, it's still not that humid coming from somewhere like Hong Kong. Number 5 is activities and what you can do there. So both places are really renowned for their water sports. The Philippines also has loads and loads of stuff that you can do on land. There's lots of hikes that you can do and it's really easy to get around the whole country. So if the weather goes bad, you could change your fishing trip or your boat trip and go and do like some walking instead, or just go like a city tour. There's loads and loads of options that you can do out there and obviously not too expensive. If you're in the Maldives and you can't do these water sports because the weather turns bad, there's really not much else you can do there. Bear that in mind as to what you want to get out of the holiday. If it rained, would you be bothered to just sit in your room all day? Because these islands are tiny and you can't really go to other islands and do stuff because there's nothing to do on that island either. But finally, number 6 is people, politics, and religion. In both places, the people are just amazing. They are so nice. So the Philippines is predominantly Catholic. They are very Christian. Be aware of that if you're gonna go and visit during Easter or Christmas. It can be absolute carnage. There are so many people traveling around the Philippines. There's over 90 million people living there. So when they decide to travel and celebrate something, it can really impact your experience. Check out when the Filipino holidays are and avoid those times. The Maldives, on the other hand, is Muslim and they follow very strict Muslim law. And for some people that may worry you slightly with everything that's going on in the world at the moment. However, it gave me the best experience of living in a Muslim country that I could have hoped for. The people were just the nicest. I've made such lifelong friends there. So if that's something that you're worried about within going to the Maldives, don't. It's amazing, it's beautiful, the people are so nice. Both countries also have their fair share of weird politics stuff going on. When I was in the Maldives, the ex-Prime Minister, who I think was also the brother of the Prime Minister, I can't remember 100%, was trying to blow up the current guy and like blew up his boat and then got sent to jail. And in the Philippines at the moment, there's a real nasty guy in charge who's going around with some very extreme drug control policies. I guess if you're worried, speak to your local embassy or look on like your local advisory service. So to sum it up, I absolutely love both places. Both places, in my opinion, are 100% worth visiting, but I guess visiting in different ways when you're thinking about how much money you want to spend, how long you want to go for, what you want to get out of the vacation. In my opinion, the Maldives is a big financial investment, so once you've got a little bit of a disposable income, I would recommend going there. Just in case it turns out that the weather's rubbish and you spent all that much money, it's not the end of the world, you can just go again another time. So the Philippines I would recommend for anybody on any budget. It's an absolutely beautiful place. If you're on the lower end of the budget, it's great, you're not breaking the bank. If you're on the higher end of the budget, there are some insane beautiful resorts out there and it's a country with so much to offer. Thanks for watching guys, I really hope it helped. If you have any questions about either place, please let me know in a comment below. I'd love to hear from you, or if you visited any of these places and you have your own opinion, then that would be great to hear from you too. Alright, have a great day, bye!